My name is Rose Brennan. I'm 33 years old, an assistant district attorney in Seattle, and I specialize in domestic violence cases. The day everything started to fracture, I was still in court. I had just secured a conviction, one of those cases that takes everything out of you. And less than an hour later, my phone rang. It was my mother. She didn't ask how it went. She didn't say congratulations. She said, almost casually, like she was commenting on the weather, "We're doing carbo for Thanksgiving. Connor's coming with Emma. We just thought it would be easier without you this year. With your schedule, you'd probably cancel anyway." Her voice was light, cheerful, like replacing me in my own child's holiday was a scheduling adjustment, like I was the inconvenient one. I remember sitting there in silence. After the call ended, still in my courtroom clothes, still carrying the weight of a domestic violence conviction, and realizing something simple and ugly. They had already moved my life around me. 2 days later, Emma FaceTimed me from a resort in Cabo. She was laughing. My mother was behind her, smiling. Connor, my ex-husband, was building sandcastles with her, like it was the most natural thing in the world. And Emma said it without hesitation. "Daddy says you're too busy to be with us." I smiled for her. Because she was 5. Because she didn't know what she was repeating. But I already knew something she didn't. I had found the messages, hundreds of them, and none of this had been spontaneous. That night, I didn't sleep. I just kept replaying her words in my head while my apartment stayed too quiet, too empty, like it was already making room for the version of me they had decided on. Then I saw it, an Instagram story. Emma's face filled the screen, wearing a purple dress I had never seen before. My mother had bought it. The caption read, "Best family vacation ever." Location tag, Cabo San Lucas. I zoomed in. My father was there. My brother Austin. My mother pushing Emma on a swing. And Connor, my ex-husband, standing at a grill, like he belonged there more than I did in my own child's life. No one had tagged me. No one had sent me a single photo. That was the first moment I understood this wasn't just exclusion. It was replacement. Emma was supposed to be with me that Thanksgiving weekend under our custody arrangement. But Connor had her that week. 60% custody. The same agreement my lawyer had warned me about. The agreement that said I couldn't provide consistent presence. The agreement my family now seemed to be using as justification. I went to Emma's room that night. Her door was closed. Her toys were gone for the weekend, and on my desk was a kindergarten drawing she had brought home a week earlier. "Draw your family," the assignment said. 5 stick figures. Daddy, Grandma, Grandpa, Uncle Austin, the dog, Bella, no me. When I asked her where I was, she had looked confused. "You weren't there, Mommy. You were working." "Where?" I asked gently. "At Cabo," she said. That was the moment I realized something even worse than exclusion. She had already been taught the story. That I wasn't missing. I simply didn't belong. Later that night, I found my mother's old iPad in a drawer. She had left it at my apartment months earlier and never came back for it. I plugged it in, half curious, half already afraid of what I might find. It unlocked on Emma's birthday. Inside, WhatsApp, a group chat, co-parenting, Emma, my mother, Connor, my brother. The messages were already waiting for me. The most recent one from my mother said, "He's perfect with her. Rose will see. Eventually this was the right choice." I scrolled upward, and what I found didn't look like chaos. It looked like coordination, plans, scripts, drafts of letters. My mother asking Connor for help, writing a character reference for custody court. Connor replying with bullet points. Connor literally drafting the language she would later submit under her name, the exact phrasing, returned in court documents later, down to identical typos, a word my mother had never misspelled. In her life, recital, not once in 30 years. But there it was, in Connor's draft, and in her letter, signed. The realization hit slowly, like something sinking into water. She didn't write it, he did, and she believed it was hers. Then I kept reading, messages about Cabo, about excluding me, about how she's always working anyway, about Emma needing consistency, about me becoming the problem in real time. In messages I was never meant to see, and then something worse. My brother Austin, being coached for testimony, what to say, how to describe me, which version of me to present. Not lies exactly, just shaping, steering, until the truth stopped being mine. By the time I reached the end of the thread, I wasn't shaking, I was organizing, because I'm a prosecutor, and when I see a pattern, I build a case. I started with everything, phone records, call logs, timeline mapping, and there it was. 127 calls between my mother and Connor over 8 months. Each major court date preceded by communication. Each decision quietly reinforced long before I ever stepped into a courtroom. This wasn't influence, it was structure. Then I found the moment everything truly broke open, the custody hearing. Connor's attorney argued I was unstable due to my career, that I was absent, that I prioritized strangers over my daughter, and the court believed him. Judge Callahan ruled 60-40 custody in his favor, because Connor had more availability, because my work schedule was unpredictable, because I was, in their words, admirable but insufficient. I remember sitting in that courtroom, watching my mother cry in the gallery. Not for me, I wasn't sure, but I knew something had shifted permanently. That night, I went home and didn't touch Emma's toys for 3 days. Then I started building my own timeline. Every message, every call, every coordinated statement, every moment someone else had shaped the narrative of my life without me in it. And I kept going until the pattern stopped looking like coincidence and started looking like intent. The turning point came when I met Evelyn Porter, a child therapist specializing in custody dynamics. I didn't tell her everything at first. I just asked one question. If a child is being taught to prefer one parent, through suggestion, repetition, and emotional framing, what do you call that? She didn't hesitate. Parental alienation. That word changed everything, because suddenly, this wasn't just a custody dispute. It was a system, a quiet one, built-in messages and smiles and concern. Christmas Eve, I brought Evelyn to my parents' house. No one knew what she was there, for dinner was normal on the surface. Ham, conversation, Emma on Connor's lap. But under the table, I had the envelope. 14 printed screenshots. When I finally spoke, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Mom, I said, I want to thank you for the letter you wrote for court. Her smile froze, because she knew what was coming before I even opened the envelope. I slid it across the table. Connor drafted it. I said. Silence hit the room. Then paper after paper came out. Messages, drafts, coordination, coaching. My mother's hands shook as she read. No, she whispered. I thought he was helping me organize. You didn't write it, I said quietly. He did. Austin stood up first, confused, defensive, then reading, then stopping, because he saw himself in it too. Not as a participant, as a tool. Then Evelyn spoke. Calm, clinical, certain. What I'm observing is a coordinated parental alienation strategy, she said, including coaching of testimony and systematic denigration of the targeted parent. Connor finally broke. "You're twisting this," he snapped. "She's unstable. She works all the time." I looked at him. "These are your words," I said. "Not mine. Time-stamped. Coordinated. Repeated." The room didn't breathe. Then Emma appeared in the doorway, small, confused, and the entire room shifted from strategy to reality. Because none of this had ever been about us adults. It had been about her. That night, Emma stayed with me. For the first time in a long time, she didn't ask to leave. The custody motion was filed 2 days later. Evelyn's report followed, 34 pages, clear findings of alienation. The court reopened the case, and this time, they didn't just look at appearances. They looked at structure, at coordination, at intent, at what had been built quietly around a child's understanding of love. The emergency hearing changed everything. Temporary custody adjusted to equal time. Therapy ordered. Investigation opened, and Connor ordered to stop all contact regarding custody with my family. Afterwards, my mother tried to approach me. I didn't stop her, but I didn't soften either. "You used me," she said through tears. "I thought I was protecting Emma." "No," I said. "You believed someone who made me the problem." She broke down right there, but I didn't rush to fix it. Because some truths don't heal in the moment they're exposed. They just finally exist. Weeks later, Emma drew a new picture. This time, I was in the center, holding her hand. Not missing. Not erased. Present. That night she asked me if she could live with me more, and I told her the truth I had been waiting to say without breaking. I'm fighting for that, and I'm not stopping. She smiled like that was enough, and for now it had to be. They thought excluding me would make me disappear. They thought rewriting me would make it true. But I'm still here. I'm still her mother, and I'm not asking for a place in her life anymore. I'm proving I never lost it.